I think that people spend most of their lives asking themselves questions about relationships and why do relationships fail? Why am I always attracting toxic relationships? It's so many questions revolving around love and relationships. And I think that people spend their whole entire lives searching for these answers. And I feel very blessed and um, humbled and just super grateful that I was able to get these answers just by simply asking for them. Um, so just a little bit backstory on what I'm talking about. So one day I was just going through a lot, and I decided that um, to just ask, like, why? Why do I keep going through the same thing in these relationships? Why do I keep suffering in these relationships? And I went to sleep with that thought on my mind. And when I wake up the next day, one thing I like to do is I wake up in the morning and I like to journal. I call them morning pages. If you know anything about the artist way, then you probably know where I got morning pages from. But anyway, um, I like to do my morning pages, and y'all, I did not want to do my morning pages that day. Like, I was like, yeah, no. I'm already irritated. I just don't feel like doing no damn morning pages, right? But something just told me, like, do your morning pages today, girl. Get up, do your morning pages, just get it over with, right? Because it does work for me. Like, it really does help me in my throughout my day. So I started doing my morning pages, y'all. And as I started writing, it was like God like took over the pen, y'all. And I'm talking about I was just writing some stuff that I knew wasn't coming just from me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I knew that it wasn't just coming from my own knowledge, or like it could be coming from knowledge from like different lives or and things like that, but I knew that I didn't know the answer to that question to be answering it as clearly as I did. And basically, y'all, the answer, and I hate that, like, because I want to, that's why I want to really get deep in this video, because I want y'all to really, like, get a grasp on what it really means, because I think that a lot of people say this and it's kind of like cliche, for real. But just watching to the end, y'all, I'm really gonna get into it so I can, like, I'm gonna try my best to explain it so that you don't feel like, okay, that's the same answer that everybody else gives you. But the answer that I received, just to sum it up, was you get treated this way, you attract this because you are this. Um, People treat you the way you treat yourself. And I was like, this is cliche, right? I've heard this before, but what I was writing was not something that I had heard. Like, it was something that was like, okay, this is coming from the source. Like, yeah. Like, I was so, when I got done right with my writing that morning, I mean, my energy was so like, wow. Like, I just cracked the code, y'all. It be feeling like I like opened up a new level on life. Like, this is something that people search for their whole entire life, and I got the answer just by going to the source. And that's why I tell people, go to the source, ask what you need to ask. They will get your answers to you. Okay, if you listen, if you open yourself up, they will get you your answers. But anyway, y'all, let's get back on track. So once I got the answers, y'all, I definitely had to try to figure, because I wanted to share it right away, but I had to figure out a way to really convey the message to others, because I feel like so many people use the same answer of love yourself. If you want to be loved, love yourself. But I think that it's a lot deeper than what we think it is. It's not just about, oh, you love yourself and they're going to see that you love yourself and they're going to say, okay, if she treats herself like this, then I have to come and treat her like that. No, that's not really how it works, because it's more on a deeper level. Like, it's energy. The energy is set up for other people to mirror how you treat yourself. So if you feel like somebody that's in your life that you chose to be in your life is mistreating you, ignoring your feelings, being verbally abusive, I guarantee you, even though you might right away, you might not want to admit it and you might not even realize it, I guarantee you that you are doing the same thing to yourself, because the energy is only going to ever be set up that way, right? Like it's never going to be that you're going to attract or choose somebody in your life who is treating you better than you treat yourself. If it so happens that you attract somebody and manifest somebody like that in your life, you will mess it up. That is just, you will sabotage it. Not even purposely. It's just that that's the way the energy is set up, right? It will not be able to be sustained. The relationship will not be able to be sustained because the energy is not aligned, right? So eventually, the relationship will fail because you are not maintaining that relationship within yourself. Even people who have a good relationship with themselves, or they begin to have a good relationship with themselves, if they get into a relationship and they start to let themselves go, they start to mistreat themselves, that person is only going to mirror the way that you are behaving, or that the relationship is going to end. You're there, it's going to be a toxic situation because the energy is not aligned. So the reason why you're going through so much hell with your relationships, the reason why you are constantly meeting people who just do not value you and do not treat you right, is because you are not in alignment with yourself. You are not in a good relationship with yourself. You are not treating yourself up to par. You are not loving yourself and caring for yourself properly. In my own experience, I was having trouble with taking care of myself, right? So, like, I knew I was great. I knew I was a good catch. I knew I was beautiful. I knew I had a beautiful soul. I knew all the qualities. I knew that I had all these great qualities, and I was very confident in myself, but I continually fell short on taking care of myself and actually like really pouring into myself, even down to like the basic things, just like making sure that I'm getting dressed every day, or you know what I'm saying, like looking up to par, making sure I'm carrying myself in the manner of how I really truly feel about myself. And guess what? That's how my relationships were showing up for me. Everybody that I came into contact with, they knew how great I was. They knew that I was a great catch. They knew that I was very loving, very loyal, just great, in all these different ways. But I would always get abandoned. I would always get people feeling like I was too good for them. I would always get people who, if they did try to show up, they would show up and they would be there, but they would neglect me. So you get how that's like basically identical to how I was treating myself. Like I would show up for myself enough to the point where I know I love myself. I wouldn't let certain things go on because I do love myself. I wouldn't treat myself horrible because I do love myself, but I wasn't completely giving myself everything that I needed. And I wasn't really trying to give myself everything I needed because I didn't really know any better, right? So it's going to be the same thing. If you were to take a sheet of paper right now and start writing down all the ways you feel like you're being failed in your relationship, or the ways you feel like you're being treated in your relationship, and then draw a line through the middle and then write down all the ways that you mistreat yourself and how they correlate, I promise you, it will be an aha moment, because you are always gonna get what you put in, not what you give out. So like people are always like, I just don't understand why I put so much out and I give so much to others and I don't get much of anything in return. That's because the way the energy is set up is that you will never get what you put out. You will only ever get what you put into yourself. And don't ever worry about putting so much into yourself and not being able to give out, because once you put so much into yourself, automatically you're going to radiate outward, right? Don't ever worry about, if I put too much of myself, am I going to be selfish? Am I going to be this? That will never be the case. If you're pouring into yourself from a genuine place and you're taking care of yourself, the only thing that will ever happen is that it will outpour onto others, right? But I think the problem that a lot of us run into is that we try to pour from an empty cup. That it just will never work, right? I mean, it's as simple as going in the kitchen and doing this with an empty cup versus going in the kitchen, filling up a cup, and then letting it overflow, right? You cannot pour from an empty cup. There's nothing you can give anybody else if you have not given it to yourself, right? So essentially, people are never going to be able to meet you in a place that you have not met yourself. If you haven't met yourself with love, care, harmony, peace, if you have not met yourself in those places, you will never have anybody else to meet you there, right? And like I said, if you do encounter that, it will not last if it's not lasting within yourself, right? Because it's the way the energy is set up. And that's the reason why I say never, because the energy will not lie, right? The energy will not change. The energy is going to always be the energy. That is the way that the energy is set up. And I think that that's the part that they miss when they say, oh, love yourself. Yeah, you're supposed to love yourself, but I don't think people understand why. Why is because the way that this energy is set up here on this earth is that I will never receive anything more than I do for myself. I will never be able to meet you anywhere that you haven't met yourself. So that's why it's important for you to love yourself, show up for yourself, and really just dig deep on healing yourself, taking really good care of yourself. I mean, all the ways that you're really slacking, you have to really, really dig deep and fix those issues, because even if you're not just doing it for yourself per se, doing it for love and doing it for to be able to attract the love of your life and somebody who's actually going to mirror the way that you love yourself is good enough, right? And I also want to mention that when I was writing in my morning pages, that it was also very clear to me that people only reflect the way that you love yourself, and the way that you love yourself should only be reflecting the way that God loves you, right? And then it'll show up in somebody else. So you get a closer relationship with God, causing yourself to have a closer relationship with you, meeting yourself in a higher place, right? And then that's when true love will start to come in and be a reflection of your relationship with yourself and essentially your relationship with God. So basically, to break that down, the way that you love yourself is the way that God loves you, right? That's a reflection of your relationship with God. The way that you feel about yourself is a reflection of your relationship with spirituality and God, right? And the way that others show up for you is a reflection of a relationship with yourself. So again, I just want to reiterate, because y'all, this is some hard shit to explain, right? I'm still working on being able to convey my messages. But again, your relationship with God, the way that you treat yourself and the way that you maneuver with yourself is in direct correlation with your relationship with God, right? And your connection to your spirituality. And the way that others show up for you is a direct correlation and a reflection of how you are showing up for yourself. So essentially, you have to really, really dig into your spirituality and your growth on that note to really be able to 100% start loving and taking care of your own self, to then be able to meet somebody where you already met yourself. I hope, y'all, I hope that this is all making sense, because it makes so much sense to me in my head, but like obviously I want to be able to explain it in a way that makes sense to y'all. And one thing about me, y'all, I will repeat myself until I feel like it's understood. So if I repeat myself, then hey, if you don't like it, don't come through the door, okay? But no, seriously, it's really the way the energy is set up. It's not just like, it's not something you can fake. And that's why I keep reiterating that it's about energy, because it's truly not something that you can fake or pretend. Like, it's the way the energy is set up. So you can't pretend to love yourself and then meet somebody who genuinely loves you. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to genuinely love yourself and genuinely show up for yourself, so that first of all, you can be okay, self with self, right? And then the person who you choose to love is going to show up for you, right? Because if you're constantly abandoning yourself, like for another example, for me, what I was struggling with is abandoning myself, y'all. Like, I would literally be like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I got so many like dreams and this things that I want to do for myself, to take care of myself and to, like, you know what I'm saying, really follow my bliss. And y'all, as soon as I would start and I would get a little bit of momentum, I would get scared, right? and then I would run from it and I would abandon myself. Essentially, I would abandon myself. I would leave myself hanging. I would not show up for what I said I was going to show up for. And that's what I was constantly seeing in these relationships. People knew how great I was, right? Like I said earlier, they knew how great I was, but they could not show up for me because they would get scared. They would feel like I'm not good enough. That's exactly what I would do. Like, I would show up and then I would be like, no, I'm not good enough. I'm not qualified, this, that, and the third. And I would abandon myself, right? Jump ship. So, and now it's so profound that I can now look at things, everything that happens in my life when it comes to the people that I choose in my life. I'm always looking at it from this point of view of like energy, right? Like, okay, this person is treating me like this. What's going on in here though? Like, what is going on in here that I am attracting that? What is going on in here that that they're trying to reflect to me? And y'all, when you get to that point in your life where you are taking everything and looking at yourself, mm, baby, you are unstoppable. You hear me? Like, when you understand that energy, you, of course, you're not going to be perfect, but being able to work through things from that standpoint is a beautiful thing because it's the truth. It's the energy, it's the way the energy is set up. And if you're not telling yourself the truth, you can't grow. But if you're completely in the truth and you're saying to yourself, hey, if this person is showing up like this for me, something is going on inside of me. I'm not showing up for myself. If he's not showing up for me how I need him to after we discuss it and we communicate about it, then something is going on within me. Like, why is he not showing up for me? I must not be showing up for me. And every time, if you're honest with yourself, you will see that this is true. So it will never be set up any other way. It will always be the same energy because that's the way it is here on earth, right? Like, understanding that and being able to live your life through those lenses is life changing. I mean, your relationships change, your relationship with yourself change because, like I said, people live their whole entire life trying to find the answer to that question, right? And here you are with the answer. That is the answer. Like, that's the answer to why you are struggling so much with your relationships because you're struggling with yourself. You have to meet yourself first. You have to be in love and meet yourself in love before you can meet somebody else and be in love, right? That's just what it is. So if we can take that and teach that to others and really live by that, we can really be impactful in our relationships. I really I really would like for you who's watching this video to really take your time to sit and think about how you feel like you are being mistreated in your relationship. A great example is you have a partner that's always lying to you, right? Well, how are you lying to yourself? Because I promise you, there is something in your life that you are lying to yourself about in a big way that is causing your partner to show up as a person that's lying to you. They're only going to reflect you to you. I promise you that. Like, it's the way the energy is set up. And like I said, I got this answer from the source, okay? It didn't come from me. I'm just the messenger, right? So, yeah, when they say that the reason why you're struggling with love is because you need to love yourself first, or when they say love yourself first, this is what they mean by that. It's energy, y'all. It's not just, oh, take care of yourself, dress right, do this. No, we are talking about energy, baby. You need to be getting your energy together because the way the energy of this world is set up, nobody's gonna love you better than you love yourself. That is the way the energy is set up. And when you understand that, your life will be changed. I promise you that. So my hope is that you take something from this video and you use it and apply it to your life, right? I hope that something resonated with your soul about what I said in this video because I'm not always politically correct, but I do have some knowledge that I've been given. And it takes years sometimes, y'all. It takes a lifetime for some people to learn some of the answers that I've already gotten because some people don't know how to go to the source and ask a question. I mean, people who are like Christians, and no disrespect to anybody's religion, but they tell you in the Bible, don't question God, right? And that leaves us kind of lost, you know? Like, I live my life questioning God. I want to know everything because I'm down here, I'm trying to get on my path, right? So I'm questioning you. I'm asking you everything I need to know because I know you're there to guide me. So don't be afraid to ask questions and question God and ask your spiritual team because they're there to help you. Okay, so like I said, my hope is that you learn something from this video and that you will apply it to your life moving forward and that it will make a drastic change in your life, your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with others. Also, y'all, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next video.